Hi creatives, it's Lauren Elizabeth here, back with Lauren Elizabeth Animal Art. If you're new here, welcome. I help creatives master acrylic painting technique and unlock their style in animal art. So we're back. This is video 2 of my Color Courage series. Well, I help give you the courage, the confidence, and the guidance in going all out in color in your pet and wildlife acrylic portraits. Now, last week I talked about how to abstract the colors in black or dark brown animals. But what if you have a mix of brown and white and light tan? What if you have those dark colors with the light colors, like animals with spots or stripes? So today I'm going to begin to cover my color methods and techniques for this type of animal. And if you don't want to miss any of these Color Courage tutorials and lessons in this series, be sure to like and subscribe. All right, creatives, let's get started. All right, so if you're relatively new at this or a little rusty and you're just overwhelmed about adding that loud, bold, vibrant color, so here's what I recommend. Just start with your more realistic colors, giving it your best guess on color. Don't get too strict on this, but if you see a brown animal, try raw sienna and yellow ochre and raw umber, the colors I'm using here. You don't have to add orange. That's an abstract color that I added to the dark brown fur of this pup, but just start with your more realistic browns and then go from there. Being that I'm using acrylics and we want to start from dark and slowly build up to light, I'm going to start with the brown darkest fur first, and then I'll move to the white fur. So just focusing on the brown fur, I'll start with my darkest values there. In one area, I'm going to then blend it into the medium values that are slightly lighter, and then from there, blend it into my lightest values, exposed to the most amount of light. The best tip I can give you is just break it up into 3 values, okay? Dark, medium, and light. Work in one area at a time using the blending technique. And then once you've done a round or 2 of your dark, medium, and lights, try adding a bit of orange or a bit of yellow. You don't need to add a lot, but just test it out. If you don't like it, you can simply just cover it up. If you like it, don't stop there. You can add some more color and focus on these 2 things. 1, that it's the approximate relative lightness or darkness. It's just light enough or it's just dark enough. 2nd, you're trying to form that value in its approximate shape. Okay, these values actually create a unique shape in their area where they sit. More linear, more circular, more blob-like. So think of this, you're trying to shape it as you place it. By the way, if you'd like to learn my easy-to-follow 12-step dog painting process for creating realistic, colorful pet portraits like this one, I encourage you to check out my Pet Portrait Masterclass. And guess what? This is also designed to help creatives reduce stress, build their confidence, boost their mood and creativity. You may be considering offering pet portrait commissions, or maybe just painting your household pets, or you're a busy, tired mother or father and you just want to get creative each month. I have new projects, live paintings. I spell out the fundamental acrylic painting techniques, ones that you can practice and master and apply to any cat or dog and a variety of different pets. Masterclass student Donna actually has been in this class for over 3 years now, and she said, "This masterclass is more than an art class. It has helped me be calm and relaxed while learning how to paint animals," which I love. I am a student forever, as there is always something to learn. So for more information, check out the link down below to the Pet Portrait Masterclass. Let's get back to this Jack Russell. I really want to help creatives have more of a relaxed, freeing approach to painting animals. It is so freeing and fun to add these abstract colors. The other great part too is acrylics is so forgiving. I don't really make mistakes because I can easily just paint right over it. And oftentimes those mistakes turn into something that adds a little bit of that interest, those helpful quirks, those vibrant colors that mix accidentally, or they redirect my process in a very positive way. By the way, just a reminder, the part where I talk about painting white fur is coming up very soon, so hold on tight. I find I do a much better job with my color decisions when I'm more focused on the passion I have for this animal, the excitement I have for painting, the emotion connected to this animal. Have you ever watched the movie My Dog Skip? It's actually based on a true story. It's about an incredible bond between a Jack Russell named Skip and his boy named Willie. I really recommend it. It is a heart-wrenching movie. I'll never forget it, and it's what I was thinking about when painting this portrait. So when I start on the brown darkest fur, I start usually on the face, where we want to place a big, heavy emphasis on the eyes, nose, and mouth, being that I want that area to be crisp and in proportion and accurate. I spend most of my time there. And when working with this first layer, I am also still concerned about fur direction, but a little bit less when it comes to short fur like this. Jack Russells have very short fur, especially around the eyes, nose, and mouth. In fact, you can see I added a little bit of pink around the muzzle because so much of the skin is exposed, the fur is so thin around that area. But do you notice here as I'm working on this left ear, I place one base coat and then I add a little bit of that texture. But when I applied that base, I was still moving my brush in the same direction that fur is laying. That fur texture really matters, even in this first base layer. And then slowly just adding a little bit more white or a little bit of your lighter browns into those dark values. That's how we build up slowly from dark to medium to light. Every layer that we add on top, those brushes are going to get a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller. Those brush strokes are going to get more refined, more lines with gaps in between to create that subtle fur texture. So I'm going to repeat that exact same method on the right side, but with more dark values because the left side is exposed to more light. And because that's darker, do you know what? If you want to go even more abstract, a great color to add a little bit of to browns is violet. I find it becomes a little more on the muddy side if you add more blues to light browns. Of course, you can do this in that first layer. I get a lot of muddy colors in that first base layer, and I'm not bothered by it because that base layer, a lot of it, but not all of it, is getting covered up by those stacking of layers from big, medium to small, from dark, medium to light. We could also add light blues even in the light values over this fur. But when we're in this first 1-2 layers, the base layer, adding a bit of violet to those darkest values is an option. Now, why I didn't add purple to my dark values here is because I don't want to overwhelm the viewers with violet. I have a beautiful violet background that covers up majority of the background. I didn't want to take away from the animal, so I just stuck with my more yellows and oranges for this animal. Here's something I teach in my original animal artist course, and that's when you have too much variety and very little structure, that leads to a bit of chaos. When you have not enough variety and lots of structure and consistency, that leads to a boring composition. So you want to have lots of diversity in color, but not too much where the different elements don't work together well. As we're painting, we always want to be striving for harmony to create a balanced composition. And there's ways we can do that with color. There's ways we can do that with placement, how we use positive and negative space, how we use repetition, the kind of patterns we add. If you'd like to learn more about this, I teach this in my original Animal Artist Course Monthly Challenge. All right, guys, so right now I'm mixing up the colors for the white fur. This is actually so much more simple than you think. Instead of just mixing up my dark, medium, and light grays for the fur, I'm just adding a bit of yellow ochre to each of those values. Because you remember at the beginning of this tutorial, just focus on your three, your dark value, your medium value, and your light value. So just add an abstract color to that. Yellow ochre works really well with light fur or any yellow, but why I chose yellow ochre is to create a bit of that harmony because I used yellow ochre in the brown fur. In this technique, I try to find ways to join different parts of the animal together with color. So even though I'm working with an entirely different color in this part of the dog, I can still use a similar color I used in a darker part of the animal. So that's one way. Also, sometimes when I'm mixing up values, even if it's an abstract color and I find the value is correct, I'll also use it in that other part of the animal that's of a different color. So always think of how you can create that balance. Now, when I'm painting white animal fur, I'm always trying to think of making it just a little bit darker than what I'm seeing, so that that base layer can definitely be the darkest part of the animal. And then slowly build up, getting a little bit lighter by adding a little bit more of that white and or a little bit of that yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is a little bit on the dark side, so you'll definitely have to add a bit more white, as opposed to if you were using, say, cadmium yellow with your grays. So I applied the dark values, which are definitely going to be under the neck, oftentimes because of little light getting under there. The light source is hitting the left, so I'm working mostly on the right. Then I slowly add in my medium values, which have a bit more of the yellow. They have a bit more of that golden hint to it. So all the colors that you're using from your core colors don't all have to have equal amounts of that abstract color. As long as it's the correct value, you can add a little bit more of that vibrant color to one of the values, like I did with this medium value. And then we can go back and draw out those colors even more, making them more abstract, so adding maybe a bit of turquoise or a bit of violet or even more yellow with those smaller, finer lines on the top layers, just like I did in the donkey tutorial. Now I also want to point out, do you notice a bit of subtle pinks I added to the muzzle? Well, again, because the fur is so short there and there's quite a bit of blood flow, there's going to often be pinks around the muzzle, sometimes around the eyes and nose. And so that's another place where we can add color. And I did that when I worked on the eyes, nose, and mouth with the grays. So the tricky part was to then join those gray pinks with the gray yellows. And that's where a dry brush technique can come in real handy, where you're not adding a lot of paint to your brush. You just have a little bit that you can just wisp over that area with a thin amount of paint, just with a little bit of that dry brush. And that's how I was able to join it. And as you can tell by the reference, that's also why I pulled in turquoise to the blanket. That background is quite simple. It's just one color. So to add a bit more interest, more of that variety, I added a pattern with the stripes of turquoise instead of just an orange blanket. There's so many parts of the composition that we can get creative with, that we can draw the viewer in and have them be more interested in our paintings. All right, so here's what I mean when I go back with those more refined textured lines with more color. I'm adding more of that golden tint to the fur, but making sure it's in those rows, that fur texture going in the correct direction, making sure my lines are nice and clean, but making sure they're not too light, but also not too dark. They're just a little bit lighter than those bottom layers. I say this often, but I'll say it again, the more rounds of values, the more layers, the better. This is how we can draw that pet forward and really make it look three-dimensional. I apply that very same technique over top the brown fur. So that brown fur was not done. I go back over with even more hints of the yellow and the orange. Now this is also where you can pull in maybe some pinks or even some turquoise or even some blues, like I said before, as long as the correct value. They must be delicate little lines, lighter in value, and you can still add them here and there, those little accessory colors over top, those light values. Or if you're a little nervous or a little rusty, you can stay more on the conservative side like I did with this portrait, where I just stayed more with the subtle yellows and oranges. Then as you build practice and confidence with this method, then you can venture out to a little bit more bolder, louder colors. Give it a try. Tell me what you think, guys. And if you'd like more color tutorials like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.